So I was recently talking to some people and thinking through the Toms River community, and divorce is a big thing. Raising our kids in a divorced culture is something that we can all relate to in one way or another. We either know people, we're going through it, but many of the people I interact with are raising kids as a single parent, single dad, single mom. They only see their kids off and on, or a dad or a mom just simply isn't in the picture, things of that nature. And so in this devotional, in this little thought process, in this little blog post, I wanted to give people just four quick, I hope, pearls of insight. There are 1,000 things that we feel like we need in the midst of raising a child, because it's hard. It's not easy. It's hard for both the kid and the parent. And so I have learned from things that like I can relate to as a child of divorce, and also through interacting with others, things I talked to my mom and things of that nature, because she was raising a kid as a single mom. And so there's just four quick things I wanted to share with people, and I'll share it real quick here. That it goes more in depth in the blog, but the first is learning to grind, learning not to give up, learning not to make excuses, learning to fight through. My dad would always say, you don't get to pick the cards that you have, you get to play the cards that you have. And so learn to grind. Don't make excuses. The situation is what it is before you. You may have caused it or you may not have, but whatever it is, like, you have a choice on how you're going to push forward, so push forward. The second one is how God is a father to the fatherless, and that always gave my mom such hope, is that she didn't have to be God in our life. She didn't have to be daddy in our life. She got to be one that pointed people to Jesus Christ. She got to be one that got to point her 3 kids to the ultimate father, and that is God as the consistent father. And so I hope that that's something that you can give some consideration to. The third thing is learning to communicate well. This is something that I've really been challenged with, is learning how to use these things called I messages. Instead of saying you, it helps a lot in marriage too. When you communicate with saying you put the other person on the defensive. But when you learn to communicate, slow down and think through, how can I use I? Like, you didn't take out the garbage versus was the garbage taken out? Like, those communicate the same thing, but one is softer than the other. And learning how to do that in all of our communication will go a long way in your situation. The last thing I wanted to stress with us is, perhaps I think is the most important thing for us, is fake is never a place of strength. What fake thing is stronger than the original? And so, like, when we are parenting when we're a single parent trying to be parent our child, and we're trying to do it from this place of fake strength, is that really strong strength? Versus when we say to our kid and we show them our weaknesses, when we are genuine and authentic with them and show them that, hey, I'm weak right now, I'm struggling through this, but I'm learning how to grow through this struggle. What I show my child is that they can grow too, versus that they don't have to be a superhero, they don't have to be something that they can't be or that they shouldn't be, or that they all of a sudden they have to put on this mask. All they learn is how to mask things in that scenario. Versus when we are honest and real in our struggle, and we grow through that, we're teaching our kids that they can grow too, and that's what they need to see. They need to see that they can learn and grow through something, versus just masking. Our culture is too good at masking things. So instead, show them a place of strength, which is you learning through weakness, and being open and honest through that. So those are just some quick thoughts that we had as a church and as a leadership, and so wanted to share that with you guys, and hope that the blog post is helpful. Peace. Bye.